thank you guys for coming out tonight. This is our artists' chance to get their show up there, to work on a body of work that culminates on all of the work that they've been doing for the past several years, building up to this show. This is their chance to produce a unique body of work, that showcases their style, their techniques, everything that they do. Gives them a chance to talk about it, much to their dismay, and it's just a great final presentation for their work as they go on and graduate and move on to the rest of their life, which is this is the beginning of. But so with that, we're going to let Alex talk for a little while. You talk about his journey, talk about his work that we're seeing here, and then if you have questions at the end, feel free to pelt him with those. Make them deep and meaningful. Put them on the spot, and then finish eating all his food. So with that, I'll leave it with Alex and talking about your show.
All right. Well. It's good to see everybody here. Thank you. Well, this all kind of started when I was on the internet looking at a couple of things, and I saw people making sort of stained glass images of like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. I'm like, that's really cool, but I wonder what you could do to do something original with it. So I kind of started working with just sort of figuring out the basic idea of it just being lines and color and texture, that sort of thing. And I kind of came up with the idea like, well, if I'm going to make something to make it look like stained glass, I got to figure out a reason for why it's happening. So I sort of came up with this sort of new world down there at the end. You probably saw that. I just sort of wanted to give them a reason to make all this stuff. So I put them in a desert planet, sort of an idea, and then I just kind of went from there, and it all just sort of piled on, make more civilizations. And I kind of wanted to base it on different motivations of creativity. And so I started with leaving behind a legacy, to innovate, and then to survive and to explore. That sort of thing. And I just kind of wanted to make each civilization embody that sort of mentality where the people of legacy, they have a habit of just making things to last forever and to leave behind something, and innovation they build to make something new and more improved, and so on. And so I just sort of went from there, kind of like, you probably already read all the stories on here. I sort of wanted to make it someplace you could put yourself into, but not make it very shoehorned in there and sort of drag you along through it. And so I really actually had a kind of a fun time working on this, and also a really hard time on it because I would lose files, I had to start over a few times, things just misbehave. And yeah, it was, I'm really glad how they all printed out. Yeah, I'm just very happy to have all these here. As you guys have any questions about anything, go ahead and give them a shot.
What programs did you use, and how long did these all take?
Well, I used W Illustrator for all the line work you see on there. That would take, depending on which one it was, like the first one there took probably 60 hours on the line work. Yeah, and I would use Photoshop for all the color that you see in there. I actually used a watercolor texture, a couple of them, and just colorize them to sort of do that effect, and that would probably take around 10 hours. Altogether, I would guess for all of these about 300 hours. That's a lot of my life I'm not getting it back again. But yeah,
it's worth it though.
Is there any work, like you're talking about with Lord of the Rings stained glass, is there any work in particular that it really got you going?
There was one where it had the entire first movie sort of in progression, top to bottom, and it was just very like cut out like this, heavy lines, and just not like you see on actual stained glass windows. It's screen printed on there, and I kind of wanted to do that where it's just all glass and iron, and that sort of deal. Anybody else?
Which one is your personal favorite?
I'm stuck between the last two down here, the Solar Compass and the Expedition. I really like just the geometry of the last one. That was a lot of fun to work with, but that's the one that I was working on it, and Illustrator decided to crash on me and delete the whole thing. So I kind of had to spend a little bit more time with that one. And I like Expedition because it's a boat, it's on the ocean, it's very colorful. Anybody else?
How long did it take for you to come up with a story?
It sort of came along with it as I started like picking out different motivations of creativity, just sort of like an explanation as to why they think the way they do, and just sort of branched off of it from there. Sort of pick out little things that would make sense to make it come to that.
So why bother with the story at all? Why not just be like, I want to make images of things in space, and that's it. That's it.
I kind of wanted to make it like have a little bit more context other than just an image on there, just like, oh, that's neat, I guess. I just want to make it give you a little more context as to why it's there, and sort of kind of drown your face in it and get into it. Okay, Mike.
So you talk about how you had to lose works through some of your files. What have you what would you suggest to someone that's doing something similar to this, working with Illustrator, working with Photoshop, so that they don't lose the same amount of time that you had to lose?
Don't trust Adobe.
Amen.
Illustrator does not autosave, so save it every 15 minutes if you can. Back it up at least 3 times. I made the mistake of just having it on a flash drive and not saving it on a cloud or somewhere, and I lost that person on there between going from the graphics lab to getting food, and I had no idea where it went. Luckily I didn't lose all of it, so.
Were there any other works that you liked that you made that didn't make it in?
Unfortunately, no. I kind of had a crunch on time for that. There was a lot more I wanted to make. I actually had a few sketches in there of them that didn't quite make it on here. But I just kind of wanted to stick with mostly the civilizations and just a little bit of like context as to why they're still there.
So would you like sketch it out first, like your whole idea, or did you just sketch out like plans?
I would kind of sketch out as much as I could, just sort of the basic idea of it, and then I would just sort of see how each sort of line would work on the computer. Like, survivably here, I sketched like 4 different versions of it, and I could not decide on it, and I eventually stuck with that one, and the depth of progression on it. And same thing with Expedition, it took 3 or 4 resketches on it. Eventually made it there. Chrissy, you were first.
So was this all like mouse work, or did you have like a?
It was all mouse work. I did a Bezier curve, so I just clicked, shaped it, clicked, yeah.
Are you insane?
So.
Oh my word.
Cassie, yourself.
I was gonna ask how you made the littlest lines. But.
Yeah, I basically would just adjust the weight on each line that I made to make it either thicker or thinner.
Like, did you have to like zoom into like where these are right here? Did you have to like zoom in so that you could do it more precisely, or?
There were some times where I had it up to the maximum zoom on Illustrator. Anybody else?
Do you think you'd ever give the designs to like a fabricator or someone, have them make real windows out of it?
I would love to do that. That would be really awesome if they could make every tiny little piece. So good luck to them if they can do that. Sarah?
Have you ever done glasswork before, and do you want to do that and try actual glasswork in the future?
Well, my dad and I actually did a little bit of stained glass work when I was real little, just sort of like lampshades and that sort of thing. I was always kind of fascinated by it. If I weren't afraid of having my hands shredded, I would love to do more actual stained glass work on it. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a very expensive business to get started into, but someday, hopefully, maybe.
So you have these designs now. Could you? How easy would it be to customize them? Say if you had a customer that liked the painting, but he wanted different shades in different spots.
Fairly easily.
Yeah.
Each different color has a different layer on it,
Yeah.
so I can adjust pretty thoroughly in it. Someone else over here, Kristen?
So you have some more in your sketchbook. Do you plan to continue on with that?
Oh yeah. It's definitely not done yet. In fact, I hope they go a little further, make like a comic book or maybe a video game out of it. Something like that, yeah.
In this style, that would be awesome.
Okay, so these are really deep in color. They're just very rich, and I just think that's a phenomenal palette. Like, was that part of the thing that inspired you looking at the stained glass windows? Was the color and
Yes,
richness of
indeed.
that?
Yeah, I really wanted to get it to look like there's light coming in behind it.
Yeah.
I actually started off working with just like basically pictures of stained glass that I would try to slap on there and really awful. And I was actually working on a different project where we were making book covers for publication design, and I happened upon watercolor actually working really well for it. I could really make it sort of light up. Anybody else?
When did like the idea come to you? Like how long ago was it?
It was probably mid-junior year.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been kicking this around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Did you create the watercolor textures, or was that something you found and manipulated? Or?
Yeah, I found online and manipulated with it. Questions, comments, job offers?
Had to try, right?
Worth a shot.
Tell us how we can buy them.
Yeah, there's a sign-up list over there. If more than one of these is ordered or purchased, I can order more. You probably have to just pick one here from me. They're $40 for the large posters of the frames, 80 with them, and the smaller ones are $20 a piece, and 40 with the frame. But I can have the larger frame or larger posters printed and 18 by 24 for $20. So if you guys are interested, that's open for you. Okay.
Alright. Well, thanks again for coming out. Eat all of his food so he doesn't have to cart that back home. Unless you want it for later. Starving artist. Feed the starving artist. Next week, we do have another show going on in Brandenburg. Not the reception's next week, but if you want to head down there and check it out, or come next week and enjoy that one as well, feel free to do that. All right. Thanks up.